For ailing franchises, the NFL draft is an opportunity to turn the tides and draft a franchise cornerstone that might just take you out of the dumpster and into regular contention. For playoff teams, it's an opportunity to get even better and get players that might just push you over that edge into a championship. And for all the teams in the middle, it is an opportunity to get out of purgatory and into the playoffs. With that said, every pick in the draft is a gamble. From first round busts to late round gems and everything in between, teams will never get it 100% right. The best GM in the league might be lucky to hit on 70% of his picks. Even more entertaining, the people who make a living analyzing and predicting what will happen in any given draft get it right a lot less. So today, we're going to try and do just that. Here are 10 predictions for the 2025 NFL Draft in just 10 minutes. Prediction number 1, the Titans draft Travis Hunter first overall. Now, the first rebuttal to this is going to be the Titans need a quarterback, which they do. They definitely need a quarterback. I don't think Will Levis is the guy. He might be. I mean, the memes are good. I'm always team meme. I think when it gets down to it, they're looking at whoever they want, and at the top of this draft, you have a guy that you decide you need more help in the receiver room, which they do. You can put him there. You decide you need more help in your DB room, which they also do. They could also put him there. And wherever he plays primarily, guess what? You can build in a package for him to play on the other side of the ball. That is a unicorn. Those guys do not come around often. The last one I can think of is his old coach at Colorado, Deion Sanders. Titans draft Travis Hunter first overall. Book it. Prediction number 2, the Browns trade the second overall pick. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, John, you just said Travis Hunter's going number 1. That means Cam Ward is available. The Browns need a quarterback. True. However, what the Browns need more than just a quarterback with Deshaun Watson's contract and now Myles Garrett's contract is swings at young, cheap talent to try and rebuild a core. There is going to be a team who is going to be willing to give up a lot of draft capital to draft Cam Ward. If I think Cam Ward's going number 1 overall, I don't think the Browns trade. I think they pick up a guy like Travis Hunter. With the way this board lays out, there's not a single guy in this top 5, Cam Ward included, outside of maybe Travis Hunter, that does enough for you as a franchise, in my opinion, to overcome the situation the Browns have put themselves in. And that's not a knock on any of the top guys. That is a knock on the Cleveland Browns. So I think they trade the second overall pick. I think they grab whatever king's ransom they can get. And I think they're looking at a 3-year plan right now, at a minimum. They have to be. There's nobody in that building can have the disillusion that they are even close to being contenders. Which brings us right into our number 3 prediction, and that is that the Raiders trade up with the Browns to get Cam Ward. Now, I know what you're thinking. Actually, no, I don't. But the Raiders, yes, they did go ahead and they went and grabbed Geno Smith. It looks to me like they haven't locked him in long term yet. They're probably looking at Geno Smith as more of a bridge quarterback. 1 year, 2 years tops. If you're the Raiders, in this list, you are the next team up that could really use a quarterback of the future. Sorry, I just don't think Geno Smith is your guy. He's 34 years old. I do think he's a good quarterback, but there's no way that they're thinking, hey, Geno Smith is our guy 5 years from now. I think the Raiders should be willing to do is trade up, whatever it takes, go get Cam Ward, have him sit behind Geno Smith for a year. Then, boom, you're not tied to Smith. Now you have a cheap rookie. And in theory, he's the best quarterback in this class. You get your 5th-year option on him. In my opinion, this makes a lot of sense for the Raiders. I know they have other holes that they need to plug. When you have an opportunity like this, especially with how much the Browns need that cheap young talent, it just makes too much sense. I think Cam Ward ends up a Raider. Which brings us to prediction number 4. In this scenario, Cam Ward being a Raider, where does the next best quarterback in this draft, should Sanders, go? This is going to be a little bit spicy, but I think he falls all the way to the Rams at pick number 26. My reason for that is every draft analyst on the planet is telling you that, hey, the only reason he's even considered in the top 5 is because this is such a quarterback light draft in the first round. Now, there's actually a lot of solid options in the second round. I think in any other draft class that doesn't have EJ Manuel in it, Shedur's a second round guy. I just think he is. Now, that's not a knock. I mean, there's been a lot of really good second round quarterbacks over the years. I just think he needs more time to develop. He's not a plug and play, hey, you can start him right now. Frankly, as much as I like Ward, I don't necessarily think he's quite that either, but he's a lot closer. And even then, I have him going to a team where he's going to sit for a year. But with Shedeur, I think there's a perfect situation here where he does not go super early, and then there's that C in the draft where nobody really needs a quarterback. But then there's the Rams, and you have Matt Stafford, who is in the twilight of his career, and if he falls to the Rams at 26, like I think he's going to, it makes all the sense in the world for the Rams to pick him up. I highly doubt Stafford plays more than, I honestly think he's got 1 year left, but just given his injury history, but 2 tops, boom, there's Shedeur. You get a 5th-year option. The Rams continue to be scary even after Matt Stafford retires. Prediction number 5, McMillan goes to the Patriots at number 4. A lot of people are going to think that this is a reach, but my thought process is there's not a lot of top end on this wide receiver class, and McMillan is a beast. The Patriots need wide receivers like people need to breathe. It just makes too much sense. Drake may need somebody to throw to. I might be a little bit more bullish on McMillan than a lot of other people, but I just think this is like a, hey, we desperately need this. Look at this guy. He's gonna be there. Let's go get him. Prediction number 6, Ashton Jeanty goes to the Bears at pick number 10. I do think Genty's going to be available at 10. I think there's a lot of premium talent on the offensive line, especially that's going to end up eating picks, especially with how devoid of O-line talent the NFL has been over the past few years. Ben Johnson had firecrackers at running back in Detroit, and it was a cornerstone of the offense. The Bears don't really have that. They have some good rotational guys starting right now. Jeanty to the Bears at pick number 10 just makes too much sense. Now, originally before free agency, I would have thought, hey, the Bears are going to do something to bolster their offensive line, which was just absolutely atrocious last year. But in free agency, they made a lot of moves. I think the Bears' offensive line now, if it's not a strength at a minimum, I think it's no longer a weakness, which is going to allow them to do things like take a running back in the top 10, which is largely considered a luxury pick. But hey, when Ben Johnson was in Detroit, they did the same thing and it worked out. So I think Jeanty to the Bears at 10. I think that's a lock, which brings us to prediction number 7, where I think the Cardinals go and get edge rusher Mike Green out of Marshall at pick number 16. Now, there's a lot of really solid edge talent in this draft. The reason why I went with Mike Green out of Marshall is he's a little bit more boom or bust. I mean, smaller school guys tend to be a little bit more boom or bust. I genuinely think that this is a very Cardinals pick, especially if it doesn't work out. The Cardinals drafting boom or bust defenders that don't work out has kind of been a trend recently with them, and I think it's a Cardinals pick. I think it makes sense. I think Mike Green's going to be really good in the league. Cardinals, Mike Green, 16. Lock it in. Prediction number 8, I think offensive tackle out of Oregon, Josh Cornerly Jr. goes to the Ravens at pick number 27. The way that I see this, because we don't really need tackles, we got Rosengarten at right tackle, we got Stanley at left tackle. Stanley's only going to be here a couple seasons, probably. I mean, he's getting there age-wise. I know they just signed him again, so whenever he goes, this is a guy that, hey, maybe you can just plug and play there. But really what I think this is you draft a guy who was a tackle in college and you kick him into guard. The Ravens guard play last year was a little questionable at times. It was very touch and go. Patrick McCarry just went away in free agency, so that was one of our guards. I think you can kick a guy like that in a guard. I think it would really help the offensive line. The Ravens right now are in a position where they don't really desperately need anything. There's some stuff that would be nice, right? Like, I'd like a corner. I would like a third safety. But a lot of the picks that we're looking at as far as holes in the roster aren't huge red flags. It is so weird as a Ravens fan going into a draft and not thinking, oh, we need a receiver. We need receivers. We need receivers. I mean, it's been like that for a couple years now, but like, I don't think I'll ever get used to it. Number 9, I think Jahad Campbell out of Alabama goes to the Commies at pick number 29. This is very vibes based. They're chasing the Eagles in their division for the division crown. And what did the Eagles do? They just went and they drafted SEC D linemen. So if you're the Commies front office, you're probably thinking, hey, we could use a few of those SEC D linemen. I think he's going to be available at 29. I think it's a good pick. And golly, the commies are going to be scary next year. Prediction number 10, and this isn't really team specific, but I think Tyler Warren is going to be the only tight end picked in the first round. There's a lot of mocks that I see that have Loveland also going in the first. I just don't see that happening. I think with tight end, it's tough. I mean, drafting tight ends in the first round isn't something that's always extremely fruitful. I think Tyler Warren's probably going to end up going to the Colts or maybe the Saints or something. I think Loveland, just based on how stacked this draft is in the trenches this year, is going to get pushed into the early second round. Yeah, I think he probably goes like pick 33 to 35 range. And here is a bonus prediction. I think Jackson Dart goes to the Steelers at pick number 55 in the second round. I think regardless of what happens with the Aaron Rodgers situation, I think it's better if they get Rodgers, just to have a veteran who's, done some stuff in the league for him to sit behind. I just can't shake it. I think he is a Pittsburgh Steeler. Now, if you agreed with any of my takes, or even if you didn't, maybe consider subscribing, maybe consider dropping a like, and I will catch you later.